In this demonstration, I'd like to illustrate a method of clamping barrel staves together using our universal clamping blocks. The object here, of course, is to apply pressure perpendicular to the center of the joint. And if you're trying to glue thin material like this, that is not so easy. Trying to locate where to put the block requires a technique that worked quite well. First thing you need to know is the angle of that joint, and using something like this you can measure that. And, from there you want to draw that on a piece of paper. And you'll need to know the width of the joint. In this case it's 1 7/16. And what we want to do is apply pressure to this center point. So I'm going to draw a line perpendicular to the joint. And from this now we can tell where to apply the blocks. Now in the case of something like this, since we're going to apply pressure pretty much in parallel to the blocks, these things are going to slide, and so you'll need to use the neoprene pads. And you can, depending on the angle of the joints, you may need to apply them like this. In this case, this is the direction we want to go. And what we want is to locate this so that this line that we drew vertical to the joint is right at the point at which we're going to apply pressure to the block. So once you've found that, you mark the joint location on the block, and we're going to use a couple of other blocks to do this also. So we'll do the same thing there. Apply block like this with that mark we made sitting right on top of the joint. And here we want to know where this block is on this other stave here. So, got that marked. Now the thing is, we obviously can't put on the block like this. That isn't going to work. But there is a way to do this. And you can take a 3/4 inch dowel and take advantage of this loop. Put a spacer in here to position these blocks. And then you can use O-rings or hose washers or whatever you have that fits to hold these things on the dowel. Now I want to clamp these on. Now this will go together like that. Nice to have a third hand here, but now you want to hold the joint together while you apply the clamp on there. And now you can clamp it together like that. And of course you want to do the same thing on the other end. This is an example of clamping the thin staves together, and in this case the only way I could locate the clamping point on the block at the center of the joint, I had to put spacers in here, and that works pretty well, as you can see. A little more fuss, but it works. This is an illustration of clamping wine barrel staves together, and the main thing I'd like to get across here is that this is pretty wide material, so that I couldn't place this in the same location as it is on this side. So I doubled up on the neoprene thickness, and that allowed me to push the blocks a little further out so I could get over that edge. And a couple of things I'd like to mention, and that is this spacer on the dowel is just shrink sleeve tubing cut to fit and shrunk on with a hairdryer. And that works out quite well. Another thing I've found is that shrink sleeve tubing will work on the blocks also. It's not as good as neoprene as far as traction, but it's better than a bare block. It works reasonably well. And if you get glue on here, it's quite easy to remove just by taking the hairdryer and heating up the glue, and then it just peels right off.